Hey there everybody, this is Caitlin here, and welcome back to our weekly Force of Will spoiler discussions for Vingolf 3, the Ruler All-Stars, or All-Star Rulers, whatever it's called, blah blah blah. Basically, we're here with the first set of resonators for this set, and I am super duper excited because the spoiler previews the other day, they revealed that Attoractia and Sylvia would be included in these cards, and as you know, I only mention it, and every time she ever shows up, Sylvia is my absolute favourite character in the card game. So I was very excited for this. I'm very excited because also all these cards are actually based on rulers from the Alice set. So this is actually really interesting. So basically, it's basically like previous rulers and whatnot are now resonators, and some of them work well with like the ruler versions of themselves, and some of them still work well in other builds and whatnot. And as you can see, AVG antivirus software is like starting to scan, but we don't need to worry about that. First up, we are looking at Arwa the Light Wing. He is an 800 angel, so he's searchable by Celestial Wing Seraph. He has a 4 cost because of that. He's like 2 light and 2 void. He has flying, of course, absolutely gorgeous. I absolutely adore Arwa. He's one of my favourite male characters in the game. He has the ability where other J/resonators you control with flying gain barrier, which is insanely useful. So say if you were building angels, the majority of those have flying, which is very good. If you were even going to splash them in with a fairy build, that's also amazing because you're protecting all your flying fairies. Also, if you are running a J ruler and they don't normally come with flying, it would be a very good idea to run either Apollo so that your J ruler gets flying, or you could run the cloud, the wind cloud edition or whatever, where if it's not bestowed then your J ruler gains flying. As long as it's wind. So basically, find a way to give your J-Ruler flying, and Arwa is going to protect them with barriers. So you don't need to worry about magic moonbeams, you don't need to worry about running Once Cleared Refuge, or even splashing in the Zero's Familiar if you're that worried. So he's an awesome, awesome card. He also has these abilities which kind of remind me of Artemis, and it's kind of quoted here in the bottom with his little quote where it's I'll protect the skies forever, Artemis, lend me your power. He's got these other abilities that are quite similar to what the Artemis bow does. So you can tap him and he deals 400 damage to target attacking J-Resonator. You can tap him and then pay a light for destroy target addition or regalia, or you can tap him and pay 3 light and you can destroy target J/Resonator with flying. So he is a pretty cool card. I adore him, and it makes me think I might rebuild angels at some point. Not sure which ruler I would use, but I do want to rebuild angels at some point and use him because he's actually awesome. Next up, we have Melgus, King of Conquest. He's a 2 cost, 600/400 swordsman with swiftness. He's pretty simple or whatnot. He's just players cannot gain life. Now, a lot of people are saying that he's actually kind of meh, considering that for 2 cost you could actually play Lancelot, who has obviously better stats and whatnot, has better abilities and everything. I guess the caveat to this is that obviously since you cannot gain life, that means both players. So if you were running against someone who's got some kind of major life gain deck, he would be probably a good sideboard to have, just in the off chance that you come across him. I mean, his artwork looks cool and everything, and he's got that mental look in his eye, and he's wielding the levitine and all that stuff. So, and I also like his wee quote where at the bottom it says, "No running away from the fight this time, Faria," which, I love these quotes are relating to the story behind all the rulers and whatnot. So he's kind of okay. I like the artwork, but not too keen on the actual card. Next up, we have quite a surprise that people were not expecting. We have Kaguya, Guardian of the Moon, who is actually a blue resonator, a 2 cost, 1 blue, 1 void, 300/300, who is a myth. You can tap her and put 100/100 Water Rabbit Resonator token into your field, and Rabbit Resonators you control gain 100/100 as long as you control a Moon edition. Now, a lot of people were a little bit confused as to why she's blue, because obviously the previous Kaguya we had was dual color. She was light and wind, and then obviously the ruler that we have so far for Kaguya is also light and wind. And every instance that we've seen Kaguya, she's been she's been allocated light or wind status. So people are why is she suddenly blue? And why is she producing Water Rabbit tokens? I have a feeling that the reason she's blue is because in Return of the Dragon Emperor we saw that there was a spell featuring adult Kaguya and whatnot that was blue and green. So I feel including this card is preparing us for having a blue-green Kaguya ruler. I think that's why we have this as a blue. I mean, it's people are saying, this is probably the worst card out of the set, but it really depends on if we are right and that we do get a blue-green J ruler for Kaguya in the next set. Depending on what she does, this could actually be a really good card to splash in with that deck. But obviously we don't know yet because we're still on Vingolf spoilers, and we probably won't get the Return of the Dragon Emperor spoilers until at least maybe halfway into February or something like that, or leading into February. So we'll need to see. Also, I just adore her outfit. Her outfit is absolutely gorgeous. She's like riding her little staff thing like a broom. It's got like a lovely bow tie on it. She's got these swaggalicious boots. I absolutely adore her, but I imagine she would be an utter pain to cosplay as, because look at all those details. It's absolutely crazy. Next up, we have Priscia, Wild Child, and she's actually quite a small cost. I wasn't really expecting this. She's a 1-drop, 100/100. She's a resonator. Her resonator type is human/beast, so any kind of beast decks, whatever, are really good for that. She comes with Resonance, which we saw was the ability that all the dragon rulers had, but she has it too. Wind magic stones basically produce, you can put 2 100/100 counters on this card. So every time you call a wind magic stone, basically your Priscia is getting buffed. And this card also gains precision and 100/100 as long as your J ruler is Priscia the Beast Lady or Priscia the Commander of Sacred Beasts. And I'm not too sure if this counts for the Ascended Priscia as well. I'm not quite, because it's been a while since I actually looked at what the text on the Ascended Priscia says. I'm pretty sure it's like, treat this card as if it was Priscia the Beast Lady or Priscia the Commander of Beasts, because I think they changed the title of the card slightly, so I might be wrong. I need to double check on that. But I mean, I do like her. I mean, I love her artwork. I mean, I've been like trying to find like proper good references for all the characters and whatnot, because I like to draw them and stuff, and I'm planning to draw a lot more Force of Will stuff, and trying to get like actual full body like references for half the characters is kind of hard, considering that most of the time the cards don't actually show off their full body, so it's kind of hard to like tell what their full appearance is. So that's one of the main reasons why I love this card, is that it's showing off Priscia in all her glory and whatnot, and I love her outfit, and it's just like, and also I didn't even realize she has a tail. Like, I knew she's got the little weird ear things on top of her, which I thought were just part of her hairband, but she's actually got a tail as well, which I didn't actually know about that, which is kind of wild. But anyway, you can technically, if we are getting a Priscia J-Ruler in Return of the Dragon Emperor, like I predict, then you could potentially run an all Priscia deck, because we've had so many different Priscia Resonators. You could potentially do that. Obviously, you wouldn't get the precision in 100/100 from the bottom bit, but you never know. Like, I'm interested to see what you could do with this card. Next up, we have Machina, the Clockwork King, a 600/600 3 cost, 1 water, 1 darkness, and 1 void. A very peculiar choice for him for like attributes, but this card has no attribute apparently, which makes me think, if you were, say, running one of the 2 older Machinas or whatnot, would you have to then run Blue Darkness in order to play this card? Or since it says it has no attribute, could you use any colour? My guess is that you would have to run Water Darkness in order to play it, because, you know, it's still saying the requirement at the top is Water Darkness, but it's saying that it is not a Water Darkness card. It still has no attribute. So a bit of clarification is probably needed for that one there. But I have the feeling that you would still need to use Water Dark in your build if you were planning to run this. But the card art is absolutely gorgeous, and obviously Maribel there in the background. She's holding her master with his fancy long top hat and whatnot. It just looks absolutely gorgeous. When this card enters your field, you reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a machine, you may put it into your field at the next end of your turn. Return it to its owner's hand. So I couldn't even like pronounce that there, because I was getting all tongue-tied over it. But basically, it's like, this would actually be kind of good, I feel like, if you were running, say, maybe Shion machines or whatnot, or something like that. I know that sounds a little bit daft, but like, hear me out in this one. So Shion would let you see the top card or whatever, or if you were even using the blue dragon, you could look at the top card and whatnot. You can have a look, and you can determine whether or not you want to play this card, because then you'd know which machine or what card is at the top. Because if you just hit if it's just like a spell or something like that, then it's just going to fizzle away, and like the ability is null and void. But I actually like that ability, so that would be quite a good way to play it. Also, the bottom text is like absolutely depressing at the bottom. It says, still searching for someone's lost heart, which I think is in reference to Maria Bella / Maribel in the background there, which is totally sad and breaks my little heart so much. Next up, we have Faria, Paladin of the Dawn, a 2-cost light resonator 600/600. She's a paladin. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to this card while it is battling, which is kind of epic, so that way, you know, light has got a little bit of an aggressive resonator now. And if you pay 2 light, you can cancel target spell or ability targeting this card. So, say you were battling and whatnot, and your opponent was like, oh, I'm gonna magic bear it and turn it into like a bear. I feel like you could still be able to pay the 2 light and cancel it, because it says cancel target or spell ability targeting this card. So I feel like you would still get the chance to respond to the bear before you get to do that. I'm not too sure if that's how that kind of interaction works. I'm pretty sure it is, but I might be wrong. But let me know in the comments below if I'm wrong about that interaction. But I is actually a really nice card. I think it kind of like parallels the Melgus card because it's also a 2-drop, and you know how like Melgus and Faria had this long-standing feud, they had this war and whatnot, and they're both using their respective swords. It's quite epic. And I also love how like I'm pretty sure they said all the resonators, at least, I don't know if they're going to do the same with the spells and whatnot, all the resonators are full arts, which is totally amazing. But next up, we are here with my girl, with my queen, with my dragon lady in fiery awesomeness, Sylvia Gil Palarias, if I think I'm saying that correctly, the Infernal Dragon. And oh my god, this artwork is amazing. I totally adore it. It is the best. She is a 3-drop. She's 2 fire and 1 void. She's 800, 700. She is a dragon, which is very useful for spells and whatnot that target dragons. She has flying, obviously, because she got damn wings. She comes with an awakening, which is actually quite peculiar. I didn't think that, but it's a green awakening, so this way it's like encouraging you to play this with the actual Sylvia ruler, which I like. If you pay the green awakening, when she enters your field, you put a 500 Firewind Dragon Resonator token with flying into your field. And this card gains swiftness as long as your J ruler is Sylvia Gil. I can't say it properly, but I actually really like this card, and I feel like once Vingolf 3 drops, I am going to be revamping a lot of older decks, so expect to see a Sylvia revamp in the near future once Vingolf drops. And the quote at the bottom is also really sad, because it's like, my soul is forever bound to Lapis. And it's just like, oh, just drive it even further in, Force of Will, that my girl is dead. Drive it in even more. It's just like so depressing, man. It's just like, you know, when that time where like your favorite character and they're dead, and you're trying to like declare that they're not dead, they're still alive in your heart, but you know, everyone's like, get over it, they're dead. That's so sadly, but I love this card. It's like probably my favorite from all the ones revealed. And next up we have the big baddie herself, Valentina, Maiden of the Oceans, digging her old style costume here that she had way back from like 7 Kings. She is a hefty 12 6-cost resonator, which is kind of scary, but we go into it. So if your J ruler is Valentina, the Princess of Love, or Valentina, the Ruler of Paradise, you may pay 1 less to play this card. So basically, if you're running SKL ruler version of Valentina, you're paying 5 instead of the 6. You can tap her and discard a card, return target resonator to its owner's hand, or you can tap her and discard 3 cards, gain control of target resonator, which I mean, I probably wouldn't use her for the secondary abilities, because obviously we have Valentina, the 12 Apostle version, which just outright steals a resonator your opponent controls when it enters, so you don't really need it for that ability. And I guess the only really good thing she is a 12/12, but we've got so many different cards now that can be brought out for cheaper that are just as hefty. So I don't think I'd ever use her, but I do appreciate her artwork and whatnot, and I get the gimmick they were going with her, but I probably wouldn't use her in all honesty. Next up we have Rezard, the Vampire Lord. He is a 3-cost for darkness, pure darkness. He is 800, he's a vampire, obviously. At the end of turn, you can put all resonators that were dealt damage by this card this turn from their owner's graveyard into your field. And when this card leaves your field for an on-field zone, you banish all resonators put into a field by this card. This card gains, whenever this card deals damage, you gain that much life as long as Rezard is your J ruler or ruler. So basically, as I drop something underneath my desk, basically you want to be running him with the Rezard ruler, and there's also, like, they pointed out in the article that we're showing off all these spoilers, they pointed out a really neat trick where basically if you attach a blood-covered war axe to Rezard and say when he attacks or not, he's dealing the 200 damage as well to every single resonator, for each resonator he kills, he gets to take and basically put on your side of the field, but Rezard has to survive that turn. So basically, he could kill all those things, but if he dies by the end of that turn, you don't get to keep all that stuff. So he has to live. So basically put the war axe on him, buff him up. I mean, you could definitely probably play the red-black vampires or whatnot, because I think that would be a really good way to do it. Even if you just had the jewel stones to splash just for some fire spells, you don't know, because there's no like red vampires, they're all darkness. But I think that'd be a pretty cool combo. I like the idea behind it, and I also love the artwork and whatnot. He looks so epic. Also, I like his little quote where down below he says, "Do not misunderstand, I offer an invitation to a new life, not fixing your old one," which I think is like a good way to reflect upon Rezard as a character. character, because obviously we know back in the day his family was killed by, I think it was like killed by some thieves who burned down his home, and he was like a young kind of like necromancer, or he was like tampering with like dark magic, so he tried to bring his family back to life. In the process, he made them like zombies, and through some means of like the spell or whatnot, he became a vampire himself. So that's like the kind of like the sad truth behind him. And also, he has wings, yet he does not fly. Again, force of will, the problem with like a lot of these things, like when they have wings, they don't always fly. And last but not least, we have Yggdrasil, the first tree, a 4-cost, a light and wind with 2 void. It has no attack, because why would a tree attack? But it has 1200 defense. It is a treasure tree for its resonator type, and it comes with the simple ability where if you tap it, you produce 2 wills in any combination of attributes, which is like a little bit like, I'm trying to think of like the best way to put this. Like, you could probably run this in some kind of fairy deck, I feel like, because you could run it with fairies, and you know, there's so many different colors of fairies that you'd be able to produce 2 of any color at some point. So if you included, say, the light sprite, or is it the light sprite or the wind sprite? The wind sprite, who produces light, you've got that little bit of ramp there, so you might be able to get this one out a bit quicker, and then you don't need to really worry about running, say, like as many copies of Ruler's Memoria or Fairy Memoria, because I think there's like a stipulus with Fairy Memoria where if you're not running the Fairy Alice, then it's like meh a bit. But this is actually kind of like a decent card. It's a bit costly, I think, but it is producing 2 wills, so I can understand why they're doing that and whatnot. But anyway, guys, this is all the cards we have here for this set of spoilers. I believe that next week they said that we're going to be seeing resonators from the Grim cluster, so expect to see cards like, I would say, I think the ones that got like spoiled or whatever by the big poster was, we're going to see Lumia, we're going to see, I think, Helsing, so basically Christie's like other form or whatever, her J-Ruler form. I think Scheherazade was also there, and I think there was also Puss in Boots, I believe. I'm pretty sure I saw him in there as well. But I'll see all you guys next week for the next set of Vingolf spoilers. So until next time, guys, I will see you all later.